Dan Illman, Mike Beer, race number 10 at Churchill Downs on Saturday is the prestigious Grade 2 $500,000 Stephen Foster. Let's take a look at this field. You've got three of the best handicap horses in the country in this race. Tom's D'Etat has been nothing short of phenomenal throughout his career when he's been healthy. He's an even money favorite, but he's got an up-and-comer in by my standards, and Owendale is a horse you can never count out with his big late kick.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Three of the top handicap horses in the country. You know what, Dan? The supporting cast isn't too bad either.
Not bad at all. As we take a look at the Timeform U.S. pace projector, Pirates Punch is expected to make the lead. He's multiple graded stakes placed in his career. The very honest Silver Dust could be right off of him, and that could lead to a good trip for Silver Dust, who tries hard. 1 1/8 is a little bit far for him. On his best day, he can come close to some of the major horses in this race.
Yeah, he's a real nice horse as well. He could get the right trip in this race. I agree that Pirates Punch will make the lead, Dan. He just looks like the clear speed. But the other horses, the major players in this race, are not slow horses. He's not going to be, I don't think he'll be absolutely loose in here.
No, Tom's D'Etat especially is a horse that can be close by my standards as well. One horse that's likely going to have to come from out of it's the number 1 Fearless, trained by Todd Pletcher. This horse sold for a lot of money as a Keeneland September yearling, and now as a 4-year-old might be starting to come into his own. He overcame a complete lack of pace to win last time out at Churchill Downs. It was his second consecutive 94 Beyer speed figure. I think he can take a step forward. He just catches a tough group.
It's a tough group, and his running style is not going to do him any favors in here. It doesn't look like, because in his last, couple of starts, he's just been a dead one-run closer, showing no early speed at all. And then actually making a couple of big runs from off the pace. He's going to need a setup in this race, and then he's going to need to improve a little bit. I think there is improvement in him. I think down the line, his horse is going to be okay. And he just might want, more and more distance as time goes on.
Pirates Punch, the expected speed, couldn't make the lead last time out at Oaklawn. He had a tough outside post. He was forced wide going into the first turn. And as we turn into the stretch, he is still right there. He's going to finish third, beaten less than a length by a talented runner named Endorsed. And Endorsed would come back to run second in the Grade 3 Westchester with a 100 Beyer speed figure. Pirates Punch ran just fine in this race. He's going to make the lead. He does have a triple-digit Beyer speed figure on his resume, but I think it's going to be tough asking him to take this field all the way.
That's what I thought too. I do think he'll be on the lead in here. It's going to be very hard for him to hold off these horses. Again, I just don't think he can get loose, Dan, and I don't think the 1 1/8 does him any favors. I think he's a little bit better going shorter.
Big price on the Tappet Gray, the number 3 Alcatam, 30-1 on the morning line, a horse that's won his last 2 starts on dirt, and now winners of 3 other than most recently at Churchill Downs with a career best 92 Beyer. He's going to have to improve off of that effort. Although that was a solid race, he was 21-1 in that spot.
Yeah, true enough. Listen, I've been a big fan of this horse from the beginning of his career. It seems like now as a 5-year-old, I guess it's just not going to really pan out for him. But his recent form is actually pretty good.
Multiplier hasn't won on dirt since the 2017 Illinois Derby at Hawthorne, but he's come close in recent starts. The big cap back in March, he got a great trip and ride by Tyler Gaffalione, where he just saved ground. The rail opened up, he shot on through, and he gave his backers at 33-1 a big thrill, only to get beat by a neck. And his last race, while he got beat by a nose, you can't get beat by Axeman, I think, going 1 1/16. Let's watch the race right now. Multiplier, maybe this 1 1/16, a little bit short for him. He's got Axeman measured, though, here, Mike, and he just can't seal it.
Yeah, I agree. I just feel like this is a bad loss. Even though Axeman was the favorite, I still think this is a pretty bad loss for this horse. He's got to win this race if I'm going to take him seriously in the Stephen Foster.
7 consecutive triple-digit Beyers on the way in for the 5. Tom's D'Etat, a millionaire that has won 10 of 17 starts. His seasonal debut was over a wet track, going 1 mile. There were some folks that were worried about the wet. There were some folks that were worried that the mile was a little short. They had nothing to be worried about. Let's watch Tom's D'Etat. He swings to the outside, turning into the stretch. That's a nice horse he's running down, Mike. That's Improbable, who came back to win the Grade 1 Gold Cup out in Southern California with a 105 buyer. Tom's d'Etat inhales him under hands and heels urging. He's the horse to beat.
Yeah, he is the horse to beat. His recent form is it's really, really good. That win right there, even as you say, Improbable is a really nice horse, clear in the stretch. This horse lost position early in there, going a mile, and still ran him down. His recent form is it's just excellent, Dan. In a lot of ways, he's sitting, at or near the top of this handicap division right now.
By my standards, is nipping at his heels. He has won 5 of his last 6 races, the loss coming in a roughly run edition of the Kentucky Derby. I love that Brett Calhoun gave him plenty of time to grow up. He has rewarded Calhoun with 3 wins as a 4-year-old, including this effort in the Oak Lawn Handicap, where he got right up close to the pace on the outside. They turn into the stretch. He's in the blue cap, making the lead in between horses right now, and he goes about his business. He is 3 for 3 at a mile and an eighth. And I think he's going to be playing a little bit of a cat and mouse game with Tom's d'Etat's rider, keeping an eye on him from the start.
Yeah, I agree with that. Listen, I'm starting to come around on this horse now. I wasn't a big believer in him early on in his career, but he's winning me over, Dan, especially because he's so tactical. He has speed, but he does not need the early lead. He'll just sit up close, wait until it's time. And then when they ask him to go, he is dead game in the stretch. There's a lot to like about this horse.
He's trained by Brett Calhoun, as is the 7 Silver Dust, a horse expected to be forwardly placed. Now, Silver Dust is a really honest performer who's finished first in 4 graded stakes races in his career. Last time out in the Blame, he got the turn back he needed going a 1-turn mile. Yes, he was close to a fast pace. He made the lead in the lane, and he just couldn't hold off Owendale. I think what was more disappointing was he also couldn't hold off Everfast, who was a big price in this race. A mile and an eighth is a big question mark for Silver Dust, but I think he's a horse that you can consider in your single race exotics if you want to try to split these favorites.
Yeah, you can definitely use him somewhere. I think the mile and an eighth, especially against, the 3 horses that we've already mentioned that are the morning line favorites, that's a pretty tall order for this horse. I'm a huge Silver Dust fan. I respect his tactical speed. I actually really liked him in the Blame last time, and I thought he ran great at 10-1, but it wasn't quite good enough, and this race is tougher than that one.
Owendale was 3rd in the Preakness last year, a very good 3-year-old that was 2nd in the Clark behind Tom's d'Etat, just no match for Tom's d'Etat that day. In his seasonal debut, he didn't have to win going a mile, which is a little short for him, but he got pace, and once Florent Giroux got him to the outside, he came with a really determined run to outfinish horses that included Silver Dust. I wouldn't be surprised if he takes a step forward off of that race. It's just that the other big 2 in here are more tactical than he is.
Right. They could out-trip this horse, and that could really work against him. But he does feel like he may have a little more upside. We'll see how that all plays out, Dan. I thought he ran really well on the Blame. As you say, a race that he didn't have to win, but he was very game, and he came with a good finish to close it down. He takes a step forward in here. He's right there with the other 2.
We take a look at our top selections in this race. I had a really tough time with it. Silver Dust really isn't a confident top pick selection. He's more of a horse that I think you should consider again at a price in your single race exotics. Of the big 3, I think by my standards has a lot of upside potential, and maybe I would give him a shot. But Tom's d'Etat, I will readily admit, is the horse to beat, and he's the marquee name of the big 3.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with him on top. I realize that he's a short price, and he's a short price in a race where he's facing 2 real talented rivals. So I don't think it's going to be easy for him, Dan. I just think he's really good. I'm going to stick with him one more time.
We're going to learn a lot about the East Coast Handicap Division now that Maximum Security's out with Mr. Baffert out in Southern California. He's also got a nice horse named Mucho Gusto out there as well. With this race, the Grade 2 Stephen Foster, approximate post time 5:47 Eastern. Good luck.